What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Saturday edition of the Pandemic Update for Saturday, April 29th, 2023. In the last 24 hours, India added another 7,171 cases. The death toll in India has increased by 40 again. This is the second day in a row they've added over 40 cases in India. Taking a look at this. Anyone remember Dr. Deborah Birx? She was an advisor at the beginning of the pandemic to President Trump. Well, she's saying COVID will eventually evade one of the few treatments for those infected and cause deaths to easily double, former White House advisor Deborah Birx says. And she goes on to say that Paxlovid, which is a critical line of defense, could eventually get evaded by new variants, and that is definitely possible. We have not seen a new severe variant since the Delta variant, so it's a ticking time bomb. It's due to happen, and we know it only takes a few cases to develop a new variant, and any one of these new cases, or any one of these new variants that keep popping up, could turn out to be severe at any given time. Alright, now this. CDC stands for Centers for Disease Control. But at an own CDC function, it was anything but disease control. I'll explain what I mean here. U.S. CDC meeting to track COVID-19 progress. Infects many. And it says, New York, a conference to track COVID-19 progress in the U.S. by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention last week has left many attendees infected with the disease. And this took place in Atlanta between April 24th and 27th. There's actually another article stating they don't want to call this an outbreak. I don't know what their reasoning is for that. They're not above the law. I mean, if an outbreak occurs within their own agency, an outbreak is an outbreak, but my assumption is they are too embarrassed to call it an outbreak within their own facility because they're supposed to be controlling disease. Alrighty, now this. Ping signal closure of NHS COVID-19 app. What does that mean? Well, basically another app where you can report your COVID cases is basically being taken down. It's not going to be on the Google App Store. It's not going to be on the Apple App Store. The app is being totally decommissioned as it heads into May. Alright, now this. Chrissy Teigen says she was madly sick from a family cruise, the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, cruise ships. I mean, why anyone would go on a cruise ship in the middle of a pandemic is one thing, but cruise ships have been virus traps before the pandemic. It comes down here to say, I am still madly sick from this blank cruise, Teigen, 37, shared in an Instagram story. I never get sick, she continued while groaning. I love germs. I don't even know why she would joke and say that. Then she says the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, last time I was on a cruise ship was back in the 1990s. And I wouldn't go on one before the pandemic. I definitely want to go on one now, and I highly do not recommend attending one now. Remember the disaster that started at the beginning of the pandemic? Alright, now this. This kind of ticks me off a little bit, because residents living near Jefferson North Assembly plant say they're getting sick due to paint fumes. This is in the Detroit metro area, as this is a Detroit news source. Another round of air monitoring will be done between May and June. So apparently this has been an ongoing issue. It's another case where a factory that manufactures something is polluting the air, and people are breathing in polluted air, and it's making people sick. It says right here, the fumes are not gone, said Kenneth Holloway. You smell them now. That's the fumes. That is what we are breathing in, and those fumes are paint. So, I mean, that's ridiculous. That can cause temporary issues. It can cause long-term issues. Not good. And the company doing this should be held responsible for this. Alrighty, taking a look at this. Who remembers when Bruce Springsteen had COVID a couple weeks ago? Then prior to that, he had a mysterious illness. He hasn't learned his lesson yet. Here he is with President Obama, Steven Spielberg, Bruce Springsteen have dinner together at a restaurant in Barcelona, then pose for a picture with the delighted staff. Yeah, he's just asking to get sick again, and there's actually another thing that he did. He performed on stage with Michelle Obama. Alright, this day in COVID history, April 29th, 2022. Data from the CDC's National Commercial Laboratory for Seroprevalence study estimates that as of February 2022, approximately 75% of children and adolescents showed infections induced antibodies to SARS-CoV-2, evidence of a previous infection with SARS-CoV-2, also called seroprevalence. And that since December 2021, 1/3 have become newly seropositive. And yes, we've known most kids now have had a COVID infection. And a lot of people are questioning, saying, oh, my child has been continuously sick. That's because COVID can harm your immunity. National wastewater's not rising all that much. It's fact it's dropping in all regions. So we're not even concerned about it at the moment, but eventually it's going to turn the corner and start rising. We just don't know when that's going to be. Taking a look at National Wastewater CDC map, we're missing a lot of sites on here. New York State, majority of the sites are not there. A lot of states are missing sites. The only region we're concerned about is Ohio, and to some degree, maybe Michigan pretty soon. We're starting to see a few sites, such as this one in Clare County, which is now at high transmission. Very small reporting site, but sometimes it starts off with the small sites and makes its way over to the bigger sites. And you can see here wastewater is going straight up again, only 3,000 population there. High transmission is at 573 counties. Substantial is 410 counties. Moderates 1,516. Low is 624 counties. Take a look at this. They actually gave a graphics update to the CDC variant page. Same data, just a graphics update. So maybe that means they're going to keep this. And XBB.1.5 is in the head at 68.8%, XBB.1.16, 11.7%, XBB.1.91, 9%, XBB.1.92, 3.7%, XBB 2.4%, XBB.1.51, 2.2%, and FD.2 at 1.3%. Taking a look at the latest cases from BNO, new cases yesterday, not many, 5,945. The average is 14,012, and the average is up by 502. States reporting 6 out of 50. In hospital, 13,455. That is down by 340. In ICU, 1,749. That is down by 53. New deaths, 438. There's a reason for that. The average is up by 60 to 222 because that includes a backlog out of Florida. So Florida finally provided us some data. There actually is an update with New Jersey today. Now, they don't usually update on Saturday or on the weekends, but as you can see here, the number is different than the number we reported on yesterday. So we'll go with it. 162 new cases, 168 new probable cases, and 1 lab confirmed death. Taking a look at the hospital situation in New Jersey, you will see in the hospital 223 people hospitalized, 8 people on a ventilator, 23 people in the ICU. We don't get an update from anywhere in Pennsylvania on the weekends, but Mount Nittany Medical Center, which is the hospital in Center County, as of yesterday had 6 people in the hospital. New York State, no longer updates on the weekends. 451 positive cases were reported in yesterday's update, 1.4% positivity, and the 7-day average was 1.4%. Taking a look at the hospitalizations in New York State, and you will see here that there were 617 people in the hospital as of yesterday's update, and 64 people in the ICU. Alrighty, taking a little bit deeper into international data today, you will see here we're taking a look at some international hospitalizations, and you can see majority of countries, the hospitalizations are dropping right now, with exceptions to a few countries. France right now is relatively flat to slightly rising. Then you come down here and you can see a place like Romania. Romania is slightly rising. Spain is relatively flat. Canada is relatively flat. And then we see a place down here like Israel where hospitalizations are dropping. Take a look at Italy. Italy is flat to slightly rising a little bit. So at any given time, any of these places that I'm showing here, like the United Kingdom, they were dropping. Now they're flat. It does appear that maybe some of these countries are going to start turning the corner and rise relatively soon, which is relatively concerning to see. And we know cases are starting to rise in the UK. We did not get any variant proportion update here on our world in data, but as you can see, India has the most of It's where it shows Omicron, XBB. That would be representing anything under XBB, but including the XBB 116. And the majority of what we see in India is the XBB 116 variant. And you still see XBB 15 in all these countries that I have selected, at least for varying proportion. XBB 15 is in the lead at this time. Let's take a look at some international cases. South Korea, cases are up 6%. Japan, cases are up 15%. Let's refresh this to make sure this is up to date. Yeah, here we go. I thought that was a little bit behind because sometimes it doesn't update till later in the day, or sometimes we get the updates as I'm doing this video. So let's restart that. South Korea, 4% increase. Japan today, 14% increase. And Brazil is down 48%. Australia is back up again. It's like a seesaw in Australia. It's been up, down, up, down, up, down, and now they're going up again, which it's to be expected for them to rise because they are heading into winter. So Australia's up 4% on cases, up 12% on deaths, 55% increase on cases into Vietnam. Indonesia up 15% on cases, and they are up 47% on deaths. Malaysia is down 6% on cases, up 83% on deaths. And we'll just do one more here. Greece is down 76% on cases and 46% on deaths. Alrighty, that's all I have for today. We don't really see a rise in cases yet in the United States. What we're watching right now is the rise that's going on in the UK and Europe to see if we start to follow their trend again like we did in the first couple years of the pandemic. If we do, then we know we can look to them as an indicator again, but at any point in time a new variant can pop up here, and like we saw with XBB 15 and some other variants, when a new variant pops up in the United States, we see the wave before they see the wave. And it's like what's going on in the Asian countries. They're just now seeing a wave from the XBB 15 variant, which we saw back over the holidays. Alright, that does it for today's update. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. And until I see you again next time, you have to do two things. Test negative and stay safe, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Hopefully it's a nice day where you're at. Maybe you can get some fresh air outside. Here we're having a lot of rain, clouds. It's not a very nice day here. Alright, see you all again next time. Thanks for watching.